Hola.
Hi.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for coming out for us. So, my name is Sean Pugh. I'm the acting COO of the Sacramento Ghostbusters.
I'm Andrew Watley. I'm the co-founder of the Sacramento Ghostbusters. I'm the one who dragged everyone along to get this shindig going.
I'm the guy he dragged into this. My name is Alex, former COO, current board president, a title I bestowed upon myself.
I'm James Gary. I'm the equipment tech for the group.
I'm Lee Briesmeister. I just answered the ad.
He's in my phone as Lee the Rookie. I didn't even know his last name until he puts on the patch.
He's our guinea pig.
There you go.
Yeah, he's the rookie that has to test all the new equipment.
I've only been burned 12 times. It's all good.
Only?
We have a good medical system here, okay?
Not
You
through
have
us.
medical?
Yeah, I was like, it's not through us.
And you guys don't have medical? God.
Okay, so a little bit about us. We are a nonprofit cosplay community. Our main focus is to help out local charity fundraising organizations, including charity car shows, parades, and pretty much anything that gives back to our local community. As we promote ourselves as, in a sense, the eye candy for the fundraisers. So we help, we do the stuff, we're not the sign twirlers on the side of the road, but it's we do a close enough job for it. So
When you have a car that has lights and sirens and blinks and does flashy things, it kind of draws some attention. So, it's pretty fun that we've been invited to a bunch of different conventions or shows or to a parade where we can drive on the street legally with the lights and sirens going off.
and actually run the red lights.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
Yeah. So, so we do a lot of stuff like that. And also we like to also focus back to the cons and that. We like to promote basically unity in the cosplay community. I work closely with a new group here in Sacramento. It's called Capital Cosplay Community. And that's one thing we help promote out there is, acceptance in the cosplay community and also a strong stance against cosplay bullying. So we like to stand to where, and as you can clearly see of all our uniforms, we don't promote screen accuracy. We like to just we promote it as ourselves. So we don't need to be screen accurate, to basically enjoy being a Ghostbuster or cosplaying as a Ghostbuster, because it's just too much hard work to get screen accurate.
I think a lot of it stems from when we were kids. You kind of put on a onesie, put a backpack, attach a squirt gun to a hose, and run around your backyard looking for ghosts.
I just use a stick.
Or vacuum cleaner.
And so there's groups that want screen accuracy, or they're like, if everything to the right type of boot is not screen accurate, they don't want you to be part of the group. And it's like, we're all different. We all have budget constraints, and it's a time. So if you want to have a shirt that you have a Ghostbuster logo on it, and you wear a backpack that has Ghostbusters on it.
I thought that was a ghost for a second.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
You can be a Ghostbuster.
I'm not on duty.
It's all about having fun. And the movie is almost 34 years old.
35 next year.
And I see little ones.
It's older than some of us.
Yeah, and I see little ones with no ghost logos on, and I think it's amazing.
Or some of us are the same age as that movie.
Some of us never grew up.
Why are you always picking on me?
So on that, yes, screen accuracy is not something that you have to strive for, but at the same time, if you want to try and push for, as close as you can get with whatever materials you can find, you can make one of these things out of cardboard. Literally, that's how I started. These guys saw me and they said, "Oh, dude, yours looks good." Is that cardboard? That's actually cardboard. Oh my gosh, you did a really good job. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's not 35 pounds like yours is. In which case,
Yeah,
they
thanks
cuss
for the
me
reminder.
out, so thank you. But
Yeah.
you can start with just cardboard and have fun. And if you want to make it more accurate, there's more than thousands and thousands of online tools that helps you find out what the dimensions are and what you want it to look like. And we are always accepting of whatever you can come up with. And creatively, you come up with new ideas for yourself, and then we'll like those too.
Yep. Yep, and then also, of course, a little bit leaning back onto the side of the community, unity and the community side. It doesn't matter what walks of life you come from on that aspect. I mean, we're pretty much a prime example right here of literally of so far between of career paths of what we actually do of our 9-to-5 jobs.
What's your job?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. I'm actually an outside sales rep for a wholesale auto parts company that's been in business for over 70 years. And I literally go into all the mom and pop shops around here in town, all the grease monkeys, and I service the accounts and basically get paid for it. So, but I mean, even on that aspect, I get such a positive feedback from even my customers when they see me pulling up sometimes in my truck because I decide to break my work truck and they don't have a spare for me, and I pull up in that and just seeing even a guy that's been turning wrenches for 30 years, how he just lights up like, oh my god, like that's just amazing pulling up into my shop.
Oh, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm a preschool paraeducator who works primarily with children on the spectrum. For those of you who don't know who that is, those are children with autism diagnosis.
He's got an Ecto also,
Yeah.
and he drives it to work every day. It's
And he
amazing.
does lift in it.
Yeah, and
also
lift.
do
Yeah.
that. You would be surprised at how many 3 to 5 year olds know what Ghostbusters is.
I'm active duty Air Force. Been in 17 years.
Thank you for your service.
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, 17 years. Been all over the world. Afghanistan, Pakistan, all the stands you can think of I've been to. But being a Ghostbuster cosplayer or being in the Ghostbuster community, it gives me a chance to give back to the community on my off-duty time by volunteering, whether it be for the Chips for Kids toy drive or going to a local hospital or what have you. It gives me another chance to give back in my off time. So.
I work at Walmart. No, actually, I do actually work at Walmart, and it's just normal, customer service. But my actual professional training is that I am a graphics designer. I have worked for engineering companies and marketing companies for years. But sometimes you need to drop back and do some normal stuff to pay the bills. But I do freelance work like that on a regular basis, and it's a lot of fun. I do like dealing with customers and try to be as best customer service as possible. And then I do professional wage projects on the side. But yeah, there's that.
Alex?
My job has a really long and fancy title. I'm an academic intervention specialist bilingual.
You're a teacher.
No, I'm an intervention counselor for students that are immigrants, new students that don't speak English learners at a high school. So if they come from a different country, I'm the first person they see. I make sure they're in the right classes. They're in classes that help them learn English, that they're either college bound or work bound right out of high school. And I'm also like the interpreter too. So it's a really fun job where I can work with kids that are new here. And at my desk at work, I have a bookshelf and it has like all my Ghostbuster stuff on it. So it's like, let me show you all this fun stuff. Got toys. And then I have a second job, which is a daycare teacher in an after-school program. So I work with kids all day. About 11 hours a day, I'm working with children. So from elementary school all the way through high school, I work with them all. And so they all know me as the Ghostbuster guy. I have Ghostbuster shirts. I wear a Ghostbuster hat just about every single day. I'm always about Ghostbusters. Halloween, I showed up to work dressed in my Ghostbuster uniform and convinced the kids that one of the classrooms was haunted. So
They weren't scarred by that at all. Don't worry.
one of the reactions was, "I knew it. I knew it was haunted." But yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, so, and also if you haven't noticed, for there's some other guys around here I'll get a shout out to. We got our good friend Jarvis from the Hayward Ghostbusters.
Hello.
Yeah, right there. Mr. Reed came all the way from SoCal for us, representing not just the Hollywood Ghostbusters, but a newly member of the Vegas Ghostbusters.
It's a long commute, dude.
Yeah, not as long as Jun.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Well, yeah. And then, of course, we got my good friend Chris. I met over at Silicon Valley this past few months ago, representing Northern California Ghostbusters. Yep, the newly formed Northern California Ghostbusters. So that's just a little show right there, exactly of like how big this community actually is. I mean, here in the state of California, I'm losing count now. Actually, how many franchises there is actually here in the state?
Hundreds across the world.
Yeah, there's at least hundreds across the world, not just here in the continental United States. We got franchises, and of course in Mexico, Canada, going overseas.
Italy,
the European continents, all over European continents. Australia, over there in Japan, Hong Kong, China. So
Ghosts are just not a local problem.
yeah, it's a worldwide phenomenon. So, but yeah, no, so the Ghostbuster community and what we all stand for together is pretty much the same thing. We're all out there to basically better our community in some way, shape, or form, and it's worldwide, and it's constantly growing out there. So. Now we'll go a little bit more in detail with us. So basically what started for me to get me into this Ghostbusters, and people still laugh to this day when I tell the story a little bit. As far back as I can remember, when it came to family movie night with the good old VHS tapes, dusty, blowing off the dust off the shelves. I don't know what drew me to it, but I always felt an attraction to the Ghostbuster movie, even though after watching it I had nightmares that same night. I was always definitely afraid of the terror dog busting through the floor at Louis Tully's apartment and chasing him through Central Park and and all that, and it's like that. But something, I don't know if it was something subconsciously or something, just drew me to that. And then, of course, following the cartoon series, The Real Ghostbusters, then the small one-series spurt of the Extreme Ghostbusters, basically as through my childhood, just, reestablished more of the trend to where I told myself one day I was going to be a Ghostbuster, and here I am actually, dressed up as a Ghostbuster, running an organization that's, basically benefiting back to the community.
You want me to go?
Yes.
Fine.
Yeah, we like you to go. Yes. I want to hear this story.
So growing up, I could always remember watching like great movies with my dad, and one of those first movies was Ghostbusters. And then along the few years later, the cartoon came out. I was like, I'm gonna go New York. I'm gonna study under Dr. Venkman and that's probably a bad example.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so money scamming.
So like Egon and Ray and all them. Like, I'm gonna be a Ghostbuster when I'm older. Fast forward, like, let's see, 20 years later. So about 20, 25.
Yeah.
One year at Halloween, I was a zombie hunter, and I'm like, everyone was like, "You're a Ghostbuster." I'm like, "No, I'm not a Ghostbuster. I'm a zombie hunter. I'm a zombie hunter. See, look, zombie."
It's a gateway profession.
And I'm like, fine. Next year, I will come as a Ghostbuster. And lo and behold, I did. And
he showed up to my work in like the store-bought costume.
A rundown store.
Rundown store-bought costume. And he took apart a bucket and some wires and some pipe and hot glued it together onto an Alice frame and said, "I'm a Ghostbuster." And I remember that because literally 1 year later, after he dragged me into it, we showed up to like one of those haunted adventure parks, full uniform,
Yep.
full packs, full patches, everything light up in an ecto. So within 1 year, he went from a costume and a bunch of scrap plastic to an ecto truck, 2 proton packs, jumpsuits.
Couple of credit cards in debt.
Yeah, the works.
It's usually how it starts.
Yeah.
That was 2010. So 2010 to now, that's 8 years.
Yeah,
Yep.
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years strong.
Well, what got me started was when I was a little child. My dad, who was in the Air Force Reserves at the time, he went to the base and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring you a gift. What do you want?" And my favorite cartoon was the real Ghostbusters. And I said, "I want a proton pack, a Kenner proton pack." I don't know if y'all remember it, the blue one. So I was like, "I want a proton pack." And he was like, "Okay, yeah, I'll bring you a proton pack." I'm like, this guy has no clue what a proton pack is. So lo and behold, he came back from the base and he had this box. And I'm like, that can't be. Open it up. Sure enough, it's a proton pack. I was like, score. So I'm running around the house with this proton pack every time Real Ghostbusters or even the movie came on. I'm sitting here zapping the screen with the proton pack like I'm catching ghosts with them. But yeah, that's what got me into it. And then once I got older, one night it just hit me. I was like, I would like to relive my childhood and actually build a proton pack. And did research online and saw that there was actual kits out there and people actually had like step-by-step directions on how to build one. I was like, I think I can do this. And about $500 later, I had a proton pack built. And it looked nice. It was a nice little shelf piece or whatever. And I was like, you know what? I want to do more with this than just have it sit on the shelf. I want to do more with it than just take it out for Halloween or what have you. So that's what got me to look deeper to see if there's actual cosplay groups out there that do good with the Ghostbuster name. And then that's how I ran into the Ghost Head community, which is what all of us Ghostbusters fans are known as, or Ghost Heads. I saw that there was a huge community out there worldwide, and I was like, I want to be a part of that. So, fast forwarding about 6 months later, I go to my first convention. It was SAC Anime, I believe it was. Was it SACCon or SAC
I think it was
Anime?
SACCon because
I
it was
think it was
because it was the last time at the
Yeah.
the McClellan Air Force Base.
So SACCon, and got my wife into it. And she went kicking and screaming the whole time. She was like, "I'm not dressing up." I was like, "Please, please, please dress up." So had her dressed up as Kylie. She had the trap and the
Football armor.
the gun and all that
She
stuff.
kind of looks angry in those photos.
She does look
Gotta admit, she kind
saw
of looks
those
angry in
photos?
those photos.
If you saw those photos, she didn't smile on a single one. But I'm just so we go walking into the convention. My little girl, she's dressed up in the reboot outfit, and I run into Sean, and Sean was like, "Y'all need to come check out our table." I was like, "Okay, yeah, we'll be there in a little bit." He goes back and tells Andy, "Dude, I just saw a whole Ghostbuster family." Andy's like, "Get out of here. There's no way." He's like,
Never
"No."
believes me
He's
a
like,
bit.
"No, I saw a whole Ghostbuster family." And it wasn't until he heard my pack fire up in the convention center,
Clear across the other room.
clear across the room. that,
I think everyone stopped when that happened.
yeah. So ran into their table, met the guys, the awesome guys here, and ever since then I've had a passion for it and helping out the community. So now my pack and my uniform and whatnot is not just sitting in the house getting pulled out once a year for Halloween or whatever. I get to pull it out all year round to do something good for the community.
Very similar story, actually. So the first time I actually went through and assembled as much accuracy as I could do. I tried to rush and get it done in like one weekend because I found out that Ernie Hudson was going to be here at one of the Wizard Cons. And I've never really gone to any of the conventions on my own before, or really like just, I go with friends and such, but I've never really put myself out there to try and do something like dress up or anything. And I had a shirt with this kind of look on it with the straps on it. It looks like a Ghostbuster.
It's like a proton pack on the back.
Yeah. Yeah, and my fiance at the time was saying, you really love this. Why don't you make your proton pack and finish it up and go and do that? And it's like, oh, well, maybe I have work and everything. And then I was like, no, keep going. And they're like, okay. And I did. And I spent like a whole weekend straight just assembling it out of cardboard and hot glue and more hot glue. And when that fell apart, more hot glue. So I did eventually get it finished, and I did get to meet him, and I got to meet these gentlemen over here. Sean wasn't with the group at the time. It was
No.
Andy that I met, and I did meet you. And we had fun, and I got to hang out, and it was the first time I ever realized that other people love making props and love making this kind of stuff as a hobby. And ever since then, it's like, I want to go back, and I want to do it again. Because I had a lot of fun. I felt like a rock star. So I went over there, and what is it, how many years it is now? Like 1 year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
About a year?
1 year with us,
About a
yeah.
year,
Yeah, 1 year with you. So I showed up at the last Wizard World Con here in the convention center, and I met them, and I had put a lot of effort into building a pack. Well, it was the same cardboard pack, but I had actually upgraded it quite a bit. It looked legit at this point. The first time when I met Bernie Hudson, it was cardboard just painted black.
His pack was so legit. Our packs over there, you would look at that and look at his cardboard pack, and it looked exactly the same.
A lot of parts on my current pack were a part of that cardboard pack, because you can use PVC and parts and like that and just kind of glue them on there, and eventually they fit. So I had fun doing that, and then I realized, if I'm doing this and I'm going to do it a lot, I'd like to invest some time into making something that I feel is more legit. Doesn't matter what anybody else feels, and they've never ever made me feel like, oh, yours isn't real because it's made of cardboard. Never been like that, but that is something that I want to do for myself. So I invested the time. I found out where you can get these pieces, how you can build it, and how to go about it. And my prop making, I've always loved doing since I was a little kid. From age 5, you make stuff out of cardboard to age however old I am now. You can just accomplish great things if you put a lot of time and effort and love into something. So I'm very happy to say I have something I'm proud of. As for getting into the Ghostbusters, it was one of the funniest comedies of all time, and it still is. That wedging between horror and comedy and the mundane, that edge that it creates, is just funny, and I still find it funny to this day. I'm glad to take a part of it, and I love the charity work that we do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and also if you ever guys get a chance to stop by our booth, you'll see that a lot of our props, leaning onto you, how, you started from, just a cardboard proton pack and that. Majority of our props is actually hand-built by us individually. Basically, in a sense, leaning back towards more individuality. We build our stuff to symbolize ourselves individually, but then also at the same time towards the group. So, like each proton pack would be slightly a bit different, but then, when we're pretty much all standing in line, it's just, it's just like the one iconic scene from the movie. So, and then of course, we got our unique vehicles. If, like Andy's Scion, he's able to do lifting. I got my, what we call Ecto Truck 1A, since it's the second version, fortunately, since the other one had to be retired, and ironically, it was retired as I was coming on board, so timing worked perfect to revamp a new unit out of it. So, but yeah, that was all done by hand, getting everything ordered up, wired in, the lights, the siren, everything.
The vehicles are fun.
Oh yeah, they are.
And the attention that you get. Me and Andy I got some stories about us in his first truck that had the bullhorn on the top. We're driving down the street. We're like, hey, let's go to where the bars are, where everybody's outside drinking. And so we're driving down slowly, and as you see people look, I'm getting on like, yes, we're exactly who you think we are. Anybody see any ghosts?
Actually, I have a funny story.
Andy actually got pulled over by a police officer because they wanted to
times.
take pictures of the car.
Yeah. I actually got a funny story about both of y'all's vehicle. So they dropped me off at my house. I live in over in by Fairfield, and they dropped me off, and we pulled up in the ecto units in front of my house, getting out of our jumpsuit because we just came back from a gig. I think we just came back from the Aviation Museum in Oakland.
Oh yeah.
So
The
we're getting
cosplay
out of our
gathering.
gear or what have you, and they left, took off, and then the next day I get up for my afternoon jog, and I come back, and one of my neighbors was like, "Hey, you're with the Ghostbusters, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do y'all really catch ghosts?" And I'm like, "No." So I had to explain the whole, what we're about. How we're backed by Sony Pictures, and we do charity stuff. And he was like, "Oh, okay," because I was about to say, "Man, that guy got ghosts in his house," and I'm like, "No." So
Only if you had a containment unit, then you could say yeah.
yeah,
But
but
property values going down.
yeah, but yeah, we get a lot of attention when we're riding around in the vehicles. You'll be driving down the road, and you can any given time you'll look left or right, and you'll just see nothing but cameras and camera phones, and people want to take pictures and videos
Yep.
and stuff.
It's funny at night because we were driving back from the Bay Area, and I was riding in the truck with Andy, and you just see cars like little flashes of light coming from other cars because they're taking pictures.
Oh yeah.
I think one of the coolest things was Andy and I lived around the block from each other, and there was a power out. You remember that? The
Yeah.
power outage. Everything was dark. Middle of the night, everything is dark. No lights anywhere. And all the neighbors are coming out, looking around, and like, is it my house? Is it your house? And all of a sudden, I just see bright light and flashing lights coming around the corner. And Andy's driving around the block to make sure everybody's okay. He's like, "Hey, you guys okay?"
You guys
Right, he lights up the street. He has his strobe light. He's got the light bar, both of the light bars. He had the spotlights, the fog lights, all the lights on in the car. And he's all like, "Oh, I just came by to check if you're okay." I'm like, "Are you really checking to see if we're okay, or just gives you a reason to drive around with all the lights on?" He's all, "Little of both."
Everyone without epilepsy's okay.
He was trying to find the ghost kilowatt. That's what. I lost count of how many times I actually had, just people just, I know I've almost caused accidents, just me just driving down the highway because people are doing double takes going down the highway, just trying to make sure, like, are they actually seeing legitimately like a Ghostbuster car driving down the highway? Actually, I had one person actually locked up his brakes. Oh. Just because he was driving past me, and then he had to lock up his brakes just to come back just to see if if he actually saw what he thought he saw.
So you think it's time for questions from the audience?
So, we're going to go into questions here real quickly, and then we'll do a raffle for our free prizes we got.
If anybody wants to share, just tell us, ask us a question or share something why you guys like the Ghostbusters. Now's
Yep.
the time.
Just go into a little bit, just real quick about
I'm
like the
pretty sure
different.
everybody's gonna get something.
Oh yeah, pretty much now, yeah. So like we're like a little bit of on our charity side that we do. Jay mentioned a little bit about the Chips for Kids Foundations. We've been doing that for the last couple years now. We've been going out collecting toys ourselves. It's actually grown over the years. Last year we also helped out the Santa Rosa area that was devastated by the fire from last year. And we were actually able to collect toys for the families that lost their homes during the fire. So the community really enjoyed us doing that out there. Other big ones we do, I go out myself personally to a car show that is sponsored by the Women's Club of Citrus Heights, and proceeds go to various charities through them for the car shows that I go out to. And of course, various parades that we do, Christmas parades and stuff. Of course, around here, the famous Sacramento Parade around Capitol. And then our friends down in Modesto, they always invite us out for the Modesto Lights Parade, of course, and that's always a blast going down there. So yeah, selfie time. No.
So, are there any
So,
questions?
yeah, any questions? Chris? No. I see you thinking.
Question, comment, stories?
Yeah.
Question for all of you,
Yes, sir.
since you're all Ghostbusters fans. Which character do you think you connect with most?
Hands down for me, Peter Venkman. And they can all agree.
I'd have to go with Dr. Egon Spengler. Neat.
I would probably go with Egon, but really angry Egon, one that's just like belligerent.
I'm like an attention seeker, so kind of like Peter Venkman.
Ray.
But
I would say
Yeah, I was like, Ray.
no. You know, just like my personality is a lot like Peter Venkman, but like honestly, like Winston Zeddemore is my favorite. He's my favorite of the group.
Cool. I'll ask one more question then, since out of all of the Ghostbusters movies, which one do you feel like that you're still nostalgic for?
I like the first one.
One.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, the
I love
original
the- I love the
1980, yeah,
first one.
1984.
The second one I love as well. I don't know, something draws me to the second one a little bit more. I'm not quite sure what it is.
Slime.
Maybe the slime.
No, that's Andy.
But
And
see, my family's originally from New York, from Brooklyn, New York. So when I was younger, I didn't really recognize a lot of the locations that they were showing, the firehouse and stuff like that. But as I got older, and I would venture to New York, and I would see the firehouse, or I'd see the Statue of Liberty, or I'd see the library, or whatever, I could relate a little bit more because I was a little bit older to recognize those things. So I believe the second one for me is the good one, especially when the Statue of Liberty come walking down the street and just stomping on police cars and stuff.
Fight the power.
I think the thing that I'm most nostalgic for isn't really the films, but the cartoon series, because that's the thing I saw over and over and over again in syndication when I was a kid. So that was the thing that was originally recognizable of Ghostbusters. When I was old enough and I actually saw the movies, I was like, okay, they're kind of like them, but they don't have it right. They didn't get it right. So
I loved one, but you know, there's number two, the Statue of Liberty. You know, hearing this.
got a long intro, dude.
And you know, whenever we go in a parade, I always have to have this song playing. You know, when that song goes on, I'm out there, we're just waving like crazy, all the kids. And just, it's fun. It just puts a smile on your face. Look at those guys dancing.
Yeah, look, there you go.
You can't help but dance. So you know, everybody loves Ghostbusters. Who are you gonna call? But for me, that's the song. That's the song that puts a smile on my face, that gets me running around. Love it.
I would have to say the first one, but I also like the Extreme Ghostbuster cartoon that no one seems to either remember or want to acknowledge, even though it's like a little bit darker than the original Real Ghostbusters cartoon. But yeah, the number one movie, and then also even the video game that came out in 2009, which was
Essentially
the third movie.
Yeah, third,
that-
yeah.
well, because you got all the actors to come back and revoice their work and
Is it
stuff.
like the next
so.
panel coming in? It looks like Are we almost out of time?
Thank you.
Okay, no worries.
No problem, yeah. Okay, you, one more
on up.
question? Yeah, and then we'll do our raffle here.
For those of you guys that were over here, come on up, come to the stage. You guys, yeah, 'cause we got some stuff for you.
I was just gonna ask like what your favorite prop to build was, or like what prop you want to build in the future, and even if it's just like the proton pack, like what part of the proton pack or something, you know, something
Can I
along those lines.
attack on this one?
Go.
Have fun.
So my favorite
Mr.
prop,
Tech here.
my favorite prop to build was the proton pack. that was a labor of love to build that thing. To actually go and source all the pieces to put that together was a labor of love. Even the reboot pack, that was definitely a labor of love. I was,
6 months labor of
I was
love.
about to throw that thing across the room. It took so long to build. But the Proton Pack was my absolute favorite thing to build. If you come to our display that we have out there, a lot of the stuff that you see around there, I built the chipper, the
3D printed.
3D printed chipper, the reboot pack, my Proton Pack, and then the containment unit, and then Vigo that's hanging up on the thing. I built those. So I just love building stuff. But the Proton Pack is my absolute favorite to build.
I would say the same thing too. The Proton Pack. I loved when I was able to take that extra leap with mine, and I was actually able to get the light and sound kit in it. I mean, it was like Kid at Christmas all over again.
Yeah.
Next thing I'm looking forward to build is the slime blower. I'm going to be working out the kinks to try to get a slime blower going for us.
Mine is the you have the movie Proton Pack, which is all movie accurate and everything, but nobody really has seen to have made like a real world version of the cartoons gun. So I have that right down there actually, and that is one of the ones that I've had the most pride in doing because I have never seen anybody make one of those. So I decided to take them on myself to design that. It's not done. It's not done.
Just kidding. Yeah, no touchy, Alex, no touchy.
But that's been my most prideful thing.
I think we have to head off the stage.
Yep.
We got some goodies for the people that were with us the whole time.